Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the level up deals have been extended. And because the level up deals have been extended, I've now gone through literally every single special on the store and I've formulated a top 10 with some honorable mentions. So we're going to sort of go back to that. But at the same time, I've also looked at a no compromise 1080p build. So I'm going to give you a full build suggestion on what I think you should be buying for 1080p gaming if you want to go fast, really fast. So starting off at number 12, we have the SL1000. This is like a 150 kg chair. Well, it's rated max load is 150 kg, but recommended weight is 110 at 193 centimeters. So it is for quite a tall lad. I'm just over 6 foot and my chair is rated for the same, so it should be very similar to the Rosie that I'm sitting in right now, but with a price of 3,200 rand, falling just outside the top 10. I had to put in the Black Shark V2X. It's just great price versus performance. It's everything you need in a headset. It's really comfortable. The design is nice, the way the poles and stuff attach and how weight fits around your head, everything. It's just really good. 2-year warranty on it as well. But jumping into the top 10 at number 10, it's Gamdias E3. This is pretty much the best bang for buck keyboard the store over, because it's a full mechanical, fully backlit, full customizable. Everything on the keyboard that you would need to customize is on the keyboard, and so you don't have to install any software, anything like that. It's pretty no frills, no fuss setup. It's nice and light, 1000 hertz polling rate. I have done a review of it if you do want to see more, but at 600 bucks you're going to be hard pressed to find a better keyboard. At number 9, it's the NX410. I have done a review of this if you do want to see it, but the base layout and platform and everything, dimensioning is pretty good for like most mid-range gaming builds. It's got a nice glass side panel, it's got full mesh on the front and the top and all the places you want to see that for your airflow. Power supply shroud as well. Like I said, it's got a decent clearance. You're not going to get the longest boy GPU, but if you're building like a mid-range gaming system, it's 335 with the fans in. It's really not bad. Most like mid-range GPUs just hit that 300mm mark or 30cm mark, so it should be just underneath that. SSD storage space and stuff, it's nicely thought out and it's really good bang for buck. There is a review on Evetech if you do want to see it. I have done a review with the NX410 White Edition. Coming in at number 8, it's the HS70 Pro Cream Edition. There's a carbon one if you do want to get those, but if you don't mind a cream headband, then 1,300 rand for a pretty damn good wireless headset. And I struggle to find comfort with headsets because I have an Easter Island head. So yeah, this is quite comfortable regardless of the size of your head, just because of how they've set everything up. It's like on the poles and all the rotation and rotation, well, swivel then that it would have. It's pretty good. Mark's pretty decent at the price. These are super solid. Battery life, everything considered, these are great. At number 7 is the Sabre Pro Champion series. This is a 8000 hertz polling rate mouse with a really good sensor. As you can see, old Ziv was using a Sabre Pro wireless at the moment, so you can get like a wired version of like one of the best mice in the world with one of the best sensors in the world with an 8000 hertz polling rate. It is a bit of a smaller guy, as you can see by the dimensioning, but at the price and the performance, if you do prefer a smaller mouse or something like that, 700 rand, it kind of begs belief. Running at the top of at number 6, it's Hikvision's E100 512GB SSD. This thing, price versus performance, is absolutely staggering. 750 bucks now for a 512GB SSD with a 5-year warranty. That's like a guaranteed cost of ownership of like 120 bucks a year. It's stuff. At number 5, it's the glorious Model O Wireless. This thing's price versus performance is absolutely astronomical. It is quite nicely finished, the mouse and stuff. The accessories and add-ons and stuff do leave me a bit wanting on the after that, but price versus performance here is absolutely staggering. I will say though, just be aware there is a little bit of delay on the sensor. It's very difficult to pick up, but it can be a thing that might affect you. Coming in at number 4, it's for me the best price versus performance mouse on the entire store right now in the Razer Basilisk X Hyperspeed. Having used the Basilisk Ultimate Wide Edition, I kind of fell in love with it, even though it was a little bit on the heavier side. I daily drive a 90-gram mouse that was 105, and I just found it really damn good. The comfort, the size, the shape, everything was really nice. And the kicker on that is this has been set up for battery life, and because of that, it's only 83 grams, this wireless edition. There's no RGB or any frills or any rubbish on it. It's got a nice sensor setup as well, 450 RPS, 40G acceleration, 16,000 on the DPI opticals. I'm sure most of us scale off of 3200 or less. I don't know about those people gaming on 6000 DPI. I know why you miss your shots. It's because you're overcorrecting. But it's got Bluetooth in it as well, which is really nice to have. So it's got the 2.4 gigahertz Hyperspeed wireless, which is some of the best wireless in the market. And the shape, like, this is probably the best ergo shape I've ever felt since MX518. This has made me feel like that. It's really, really good. 800 Rand for that as well. It's kind of sick. At number 3, it's Klevv's Crass C710 512 gig Nvme for a whole 800 bucks with a 5-year warranty. That makes your guaranteed cost of ownership less, like 180 Rand per year, basically, on the quick maths. And yeah, 512 gig is a nice size. If you're going to use it for like an OS drive or something like that, that's perfect. And if you want to just give like an old system that's got an Nvme slot a good kick in the pants, this is the way to do it. At number 2, it's a Corsair K60 Pro mechanical gaming keyboard. This is a fully backlit, fully Cherry MX or Cherry Viola switched keyboard for 1,500 Rand, and it's a full-size keyboard. It's not a TKL or a 60%, so you're getting a lot more keyboard and, well, at a lot less money. 1,500 Rand for this is absolutely fantastic. I'm really glad Corsair's back in like the really good like price versus performance space, like with their Sabre as well. This is like the keyboard version of that. The experience and stuff you'll derive from this compared to a Mecha membrane or something like that is going to be leagues different. And finally, the number 1 deal on Etech still, it has to go to this Dell special, which is just scarcely believable. I've taken one for review. It's going to come out probably on Friday. The DGFA version of this is a 165Hz 1440p 1 millisecond response time HDR 400 having panel for 6,000 Rand. This would have been 8K normally, and the discount is 2,000 Rand, guys. It's a quarter. It's 25% off on something that costs 8,000 Rand. That's a huge amount of discount that they've applied to this thing. It's like out of this world. I'm actually a little bit butthurt because I just bought a 240Hz, and I honestly would have bought this instead just because it's 1440p, so you get that extra resolution scale and everything with the higher refresh rate. 165Hz is fantastic, but HDR 400 is nothing to turn your nose up at. Every single time I've used it, it's been a good time. And having used this thing's big brother, the S2721DGFA, which is their HDR 400 32 curved with the same kind of spec, this is going to be more of the same. I just know it is. Dell's monitors are just absolutely fantastic, and it's 6,000 Rand. It's like, how have you done this, Dell? I just don't even understand. And now it's time to go through the 1080p no compromises build. This is what I would honestly suggest if you were looking to set up a gaming PC that you wanted to last a decent amount of time, that you're not going to have to upgrade in the next 2 to 3 years. And even then, you could probably just do the GPU and carry on using the base system. So to that end, I've selected this upgrade kit specifically because with the 32 gig RAM, it's 10K for an 11700, which is 8-core 16 thread, and a very good one at that, with the new B560 motherboard, which now has RAM tuning. And the tough boards are just some of the best looking and build quality, and I just love Asus motherboards. I pretty much only ever use Asus motherboards because they are the best motherboard in the world. That's why they have 41 nearly % market share because they're the best. 11700, 8-core 16 thread. This is like just really good. 65-watt TDP as well. It's pretty easy to keep cool, and you'll see with the cooling solution we've over dimensioned that, so it'll be able to run at its boost clocks almost all of the time. Then you've got your XR 3600 megahertz. These are really good RAM DIMMs for what they cost. I'm using 4 of the 8 gigs at the moment with my 5900X. I've used these with the 10900K, with 9 series stuff. I've used it basically on 3 generations of Intel and 3 generations of AMD, and they just work. They just never have any compatibility issues. So even if you look to sell later and you put it in a different system, then they'll be able to go into there. Wi-Fi built into the board is nice. Good sound card as well. Like everything spec wise on this is just really, really good. So that's the upgrade kit. But what about the GPU? For the GPU, I'm throwing in the 210 just because price right now is really good at 9K, and having benchmarked the 308 6600 XT, I can tell you with the very strict power targets and stuff, you don't need like actually a lot of cooler to get a lot out of these GPUs. That card ran at 65 degrees like max. This should keep it under 70 even with a slightly smaller cooler, but the performance here is basically a 3060. This is a 3060 for 9 grand, and where RTX is concerned, it can actually do some ray tracing as well. They've actually made like quite significant improvements there. To give you a bit more perspective, this with a 5700G beat my 5900X with my 2070 Super. It's not supposed to, but it did because of how fast this GPU is. Then for storage, it's pretty straightforward. We have the Western Digital 2TB, and then I've also got the Hikvision 1TB. I've thrown this in just so that you've got like a little bit more space inside of the storage environment there. So like, well, you can put games or, you know, like your other stuff like Adobe Suite or something like that onto this. Your OBS, if you're going to do streaming or something like that, your processor is perfectly capable of doing that. Then you'll be able to use this as like, well, just a faster area for storage and stuff. And this is the new E3000. I've got the E2000, which is slightly slower rated than this as well, so this thing should vickle. I mean, mine's 3000 2000 and it gets to those scores pretty handily in crystal disk mark, so I would assume that this thing's going to be a bit of a monster. Then for the case, I've chosen the 275R Airflow. I actually might be buying one of these in the near future for my build because I've had to drill holes into my Fantex because the front was solid and they made it mesh on the new generation, which I should have done from the start. But the holes in the airflow and everything inside the case mean that you get that high airflow with quite a nice pattern and stuff. But the main thing here is the dimensioning, especially for the GPU. It's got like some of the biggest throw distance I've seen in a case at this price point. More throw distance, I mean like coverage of distance there is about 420 millimeters if I remember correctly. It's got a huge space over here. You can see it's even got space for 240 more RAM on top. Look how much space there is up front there. So if you've got a really long boy GPU, if you upgrade to a long boy GPU in the future, then you're not going to have to change your case just to facilitate that. It's got proper radiator support as well, 280s and 360s up front, so you've got some flexibility there. But it comes with 3 of the included fans, which you can use for cooling around the rest of the case. Even the storage setup for the SSDs and the 3.5 and like the power supply clearance, it's actually made for like bigger componentry. It's not made to like house, you know, a small PC. It's built for water cooling and for long boy GPUs, and the dimensioning and everything in this is fantastic. Having built in one, I'm really convinced on this case. This is probably the best case on the entire store right now, price versus performance considered. Then for cooling, I've thrown in the Neptune 240mm. Price versus performance once again is absolutely fantastic. 3-year warranty on this, and then to back those up just to give it a little bit more throughput so you can have a full push-pull setup on your radiator, I would throw in the triple fan pack. You can configure the push-pull with the normal 275R fans as well, so it gives you some flexibility, meaning that you're going to be able to max out the cooling potential though of that chassis. Then to power it all up, I couldn't ignore the Kratos 750 Gold. I've built with the 750 Bronze. This one is nice because it's got some modular features in it as well, so you don't have to have cables that you don't need, which is always going to be nice for your system cleanliness. But it's 80+ gold certified, which means you're going to get 92% of that 750 watts. So it means even if you upgrade to like a fat boy GPU that charges 350 watts, you don't really care because your chip probably is going to chow max, your CPU, I mean, it's going to chow max like 130 watt from that 11700, plus the rest of your motherboard stuff is only gonna probably tick in at about 250 watts overall. So even if you have a 350 watt GPU on top of that, that's 600 watts. You're certified for 700 all day, any day. So you're going to have some built-in headroom as well, and I much prefer buying a power supply like that than getting something more entry level and then having to upgrade later. It's not a massive expense difference. It's like 300-400 rand versus like the more entry level power supplies, and then it comes with a 5-year warranty. So the build in the cart with all of that spec'd up looks like this, and your total there is going to be 26k. But for 26k now, you have a machine that will thump 1080p gaming. You can even look at some 1440p gaming at 60 fps, but 1080p gaming with this, you're going to be at 100 fps on no matter what title you throw at this thing. It's going to absolutely devour it. And that is all I have for you today, Do take note, guys, these specials are finishing on the 10th. I'll be doing something similar next week, depending on what's live on the store, specials wise, etc. We'll have a look, and I might go back to the normal format for the last video of the year. We'll see. We'll have to see what's there when we get there. But until next time, hope you guys stay safe, keep well, and I'll see you on the flip side.